All right, welcome everybody. It's so good to see you. If you're here live on the call, thank you for taking time to be with me today for this bonus call, how to live pain-free and tips for dealing with holiday feelings, families, and frustrations. We're going to cover a lot of ground today. And if you're just listening to the recording, welcome to the call. It's great to have you as well, connecting to our field. And, you know, just your intention to be here says a lot about you, whether you're live or listening to the recording. Remember, every action that you take sets a tone, an actual literal tone that your entire system is listening to all the time. Your actions speak louder than your words, and your actions that you repeat and repeat and repeat and rinse and repeat are the ones that really will be showing up in your life, in your body, in your health, in your mind, in your spirit. And I wanted to do this call tonight because it's that time of year and I start to see it, hear it, sense it, get the emails, the calls, the texts from people who are noticing already the stress, right? The stress. It's like from Halloween through New Year's, there's this period that should be joyful and playful and more exhilarating, inspiring, connecting, and yet it becomes the stressful time of year. And why is that? And what is this stress? So before we go any further, I want to ask each one of you to go into your chat, which is usually at the bottom of your toolbar. You'll see a word that says chat. I want you to click on that chat, and I want you to just type in a sentence that's, what does stress mean to you? When you hear the word, say the word, feel the word, think the word stress, what exactly are you talking about? Because I'm certain we all have a different understanding of that. And I want to address that today on the call and talk about how to live pain-free, because we hear all the time that stress is at the root of disease, right? So we don't want to be stressed. And immediately it makes it sound like stress is this bad thing. And yet there's really also good stress. And if you were not stressed at all, you would actually be a vegetable. If you never stressed your muscles, your body, your mind, if you never had any stress, you would be a weakling. Literally, think about it. If you never use the muscles in your body, which it takes stress to do, you would be a limp noodle lying down with an inability to even walk across the room. But that's not usually what we're thinking about when we say or hear the word stress, is it? And yet that word just brings up lots of things for people. So let me check in the chat. All right, so stress means to some feeling out of control, a lot of uncontrollable anxiety, high anxiety that I can't control. Notice the theme already, anxiety and control. Exhausted, tension in my body and my brain that I can't get a handle on, which is another way of saying control. Nervous energy coursing through my body and brain. Multiple thoughts. The energy is good, but the anxious feelings are not so great. Underline anxious. Anxiety, fear, overwhelm. Feels like a quickening or a tightness, anxiousness, worry, etc. Lack of feeling peaceful. Stress means feeling overwhelmed when I have a busy mind. Pressure, too much to do, anxiety. More than usual effort to do normal activities. A little stress motivates me, Shirley says. When I'm overwhelmed, I feel I've lost myself in my direction. And then Cindy said, stress to me is anxiety about something happening in my world right now that I have no control over. And then Jack says, overwhelming, feeling paralyzed. So you catch the theme here. There's a theme in this, in all these comments, and even just reading them, can you feel the heaviness, right? This is not, oh, the weights I lifted were too heavy. This is life heavy. Life is heavy. It's weighing on me. It's too much. I feel overwhelmed. I can't handle it. I'm out of control. I feel pressure, too much to do. That's the feeling here. And it's not a good feeling, right? So I want to talk today and address some of these and talk about some practical tools and tips that you can start to use to alleviate stress and really look at, where is this all coming from? Because stress is normal. Stress is actually normal, some stress, all right? But suffering is not normal. Suffering is a different story. And when stress equals anxiety and overwhelm and I can't handle it and it's too much, that's where we cross that line and we start struggling. And what I mean by that, and what most people do when they start struggling, is they start trying to stop something. They're resisting something or someone or a feeling or a busy mind or activity. They're trying to stop and control something that feels like too much, right? You wouldn't try to stop and control the joy, would you? Well, maybe you would, but I mean, nobody listed here, oh, I'm just too happy. We have so much fun. I can't handle it. It's too much. We need to tone it down. Nobody said that. Nobody said, oh, I'm so relaxed. It's overwhelming. When the holidays come, there's just too much relaxation. Nobody said that. So what you're hearing and seeing here is that there are certain feelings that you don't like, certain experiences you don't want, certain sensations in your body that you interpret as scary or overwhelming or too much, all right? So hear me out on this, because stress is not something that just happens to us. It doesn't just come out of the blue and hit us and we're a victim of it. That is not the case. It has a lot to do with our mental and our emotional interpretation of what's going on in our body. Now, the body is a big feedback machine. Those of you who are in my universe a lot, you've heard me say this before. Your body is giving you feedback 24/7. And how we interpret the feedback makes a world of difference in how we're going to feel and act. And so the feedback is usually a sensation in the body. It's a physical sensation. Now you have to remember, you are not your body. You are not the sensations you're getting in your body. You're not the thoughts that come up that interpret the sensations that you're getting in your body. And you're not the feelings, the emotional responses that come from the thoughts that you're having, which come from the interpretations you're giving the sensations in your body. That's not you. Those things are separate from you. Otherwise, you wouldn't know they're happening. If you were your thoughts, you wouldn't know you were having those thoughts. Think about that. Who is it that knows that you're thinking that? The you is not the thoughts. You wouldn't know you were having sensations if you were the sensations. You are on the outside feeling, sensing, thinking, and noticing things. That's the real you. You are an awareness, a point of awareness that's becoming aware that you're having thoughts, aware that you're having sensations, aware that you're having feelings, aware that your body's giving you feedback. And here's where most people go wrong. And really pay attention to this, because this is the biggest mistake that most people make. You become aware of a sensation, a thought, an emotion, a physical reaction to something, and you give it meaning that scares you, and then you want to stop it. You want to make it stop. You want to make it go away. You want to resist it. What happens when we try to stop something or resist something? We put up a shield, a wall. We most people hold their breath when they try to stop something. They hold their breath. They tense up. They tighten up. They grip. Okay, that tension from resisting leads, if you do it long enough, leads to dis-ease. Immediately, it is dis-ease. Now think about this. If something was happening around you and you started thinking about it and having emotions about it, but you relaxed and just let it happen without trying to stop it or figure it out or change it, you just use this. Think of this example. Let's say you went to a party, family or friends, and the people around you were joyful and playful and just having a good time. And that was okay with you. That felt good. You were happy about that. You enjoyed that. So you're not tensing up about it. You're just allowing it to happen, right? You're just witnessing it, watching. Maybe you're talking and participating. You are not trying to stop it or change it or fix it in any way, right? So you're more relaxed about it, right? Shake your head if you're with me. Okay, so that's a state of flowing with it, non-resistance, right? But let's say all of a sudden 2 people at the party start yelling at each other and screaming at each other. And you always do this, and you're ruining the party. And you're all of a sudden, you're witnessing this. You're in the room, and there's a silence, and you start holding your breath. And you start tightening up, and you don't know what to do or say or think or feel. You go into either get a little frozen, or you want to run away because it's like, oh my God, it doesn't feel safe in here anymore. What's going to happen? Or you want to get in and defend somebody and fight somebody, protect somebody. See, that's a different state. And that probably feels like dis-ease, because it's based on your idea about what's happening, your ideas, your thoughts about what's happening, and your body's instinctual need to protect you, to keep you alive and sense danger. So when you sense anything that instinctually feels like danger, or you interpret something as not being safe and being dangerous, you'll tense up, you'll hold your breath, you'll want to either fight, freeze up, or leave. That puts you in the state of dis-ease. You're either going to want to change it, and get in there, or you want to get out of there. So think of it this way. Stress has to do with whether you feel safe or not. And this is going on all the time, both consciously and unconsciously. And the more conscious you be consciously aware that you become of this very thing, the more you'll have the control that you want. Now, I'm not suggesting everybody walk around feeling control and trying to control. Let's see, would everyone mute your phones? Keep out the background noise. Thank you. I'm not suggesting that you walk around feeling like you and thinking you need to control everyone or everything or every situation. That also is a big problem that causes a lot of stress and tension and dis-ease. Think about it. let's say you want to stand on one leg. Okay, just you want to stand on one leg. What do you have to do? You have to control your body, control your breathing. You want to get really strong. You tend to pull everything in and hold on tight to certain muscles to be able to stand on one leg. Well, the same is true when you try to control emotions, your own or someone else's, when you try to control events, things that are happening around you. See, control, although it's good to feel like you are in your power and you have choice. I think of having choice and being in your power different than being in control. Because the whole being in control often is the result of not feeling safe. And it's that state again of feeling like you have to constantly keep guard and look out and protect yourself and make sure you're not getting hurt. It's usually a cover up for feeling vulnerable or feeling like people aren't doing what you want, having expectations of other people and experiences. And we all know where that leads. So, first of all, like I said, some degree of stress is normal. You can't control everything in life to make it go your way. Now, believe it or not, I used to think I could. I actually used to think I can make life go my way. So it doesn't take a genius to figure out, well, I was frustrated all the time because I was always trying to make it go my way. I expected it to go my way. I expected people to do what I wanted, and they didn't. And so then I kept trying to get them to do what I wanted, and I became exhausted. Imagine that. Because it's exhausting to try to control other people who aren't willing and aren't interested and didn't ask for your help. So that's where you go into the suffering. Now, when you accept other people, when you accept yourself, when you recognize there are certain things that you can change and things that you can't, immediately your stress level goes down. Immediately. And in case I forgot to say this, which I believe I haven't mentioned this yet, I know all of you are in my universe because something hurts. It might be physical pain, it might be emotional or mental pain, it might be pain in your relationships, your finances, your romances. Usually people come to me and are in my classes and courses and come to my calls because they're suffering from some type of pain. And everything that I'm talking about tonight and in all my programs, in all my classes, when I say pain, you can fill in the blank with your variety of it. It's not just neck pain or back pain or hip pain. Pain is pain. It doesn't feel good, and you are trying to fix it, or you wouldn't be seeking answers. You're either trying to figure out where did it come from, right? How did I get this, and how do I stop it? Because nobody wants to live with pain. I get that. And so we have to look at the roots. And most of the time we think of where does it hurt? Where? So that we can take something for it or cut it out or have a surgery that fixes it or change something to get rid of the sensation, the feeling, the feedback of the pain. Now, I'm suggesting we look much deeper into, well, how did it get there to begin with? And that's why the stress, looking at stress and what that even means to you is so important. Because if you recognize that all day long you're thinking all day long. Do you know they've studied this? The average person has 90,000 thoughts a day. That's the average person. And I know a lot of you are overthinkers. So you're having more than 90,000 thoughts a day. That's a hell of a lot of thoughts. And I would venture to guess a lot of your thoughts are the same, maybe a variation on the same theme, but you're actually thinking same thoughts over and over and over. And imagine 90,000 times a day. I'm exhausted just thinking about that. So we want to know what we're thinking about. We want to understand how our mind works, and we want to be able to correct and create from a place that feels better than our habitual, unconscious way of thinking. And nobody teaches us in school how to examine our thoughts. When did you ever hear that? I never heard that. Not once. Examine your thoughts, Deborah. Perhaps you feel miserable because of the way you're thinking. That was life-changing when I started to understand that it begins on the invisible realm with thoughts, and that keeps going down a trail that eventually shows up as, yes, physical pain, might be headaches or stomach aches or neck aches, back aches. It could go much, much further. And there's always thoughts that are generated again and again and again with certain patterns of dis-ease. So we have to look at this if you really want to change, and if you really want the freedom to live pain-free. If you're just looking for the pill or the potion or the lotion, you're going to maybe get a temporary Band-Aid. I know a lot of you well enough to know you've tried some of the Band-Aids and they fell off, they weren't waterproof. And so they fall off eventually. Sometimes they don't ever stick at all. And so we have to look deeper. And the mind is a tricky place. If you had been inside my mind years ago, you would not have wanted to hang out there very long. It was not a pretty place. I literally had a committee of voices all day long telling me how I was wrong, bad, stupid, ugly. I mean, the voices went on and on and on. And here's the catch. The thoughts they lead to an emotion. Every thought you think causes you to feel a certain way. Now, if what's going on in your head is, wow, life is so amazing. Look at that. And oh, I'm so grateful for this person. And wow, what a beautiful sun. Like that creates different feelings than you're never going to amount to anything. You're never going to get this right. Am I ever going to lose weight? When is this going to stop? I hate that person. Like those thoughts lead to a different feeling. Are you with me? And so the thoughts generate the emotions. And guess what? The emotions make us choose what to do. Every moment of every day, our emotions are the driver for our choices. Now, if you're feeling amazing and grateful and full of love, you're probably going to go out into life more open, take more risks, meet more people, extend your hand, try things. Whereas if you're feeling less than, not enough, tense and tight, you may not leave the house. You may not pick up the phone. You may not extend yourself. You may not call a friend. You may not join a class. You may not go anywhere. You may just sit home and listen to the voices in the head telling you, pour me a drink, right? That's a different life completely based on the thoughts and the emotions. This is all very logical and easy to see how this plays out. You can literally see in someone's spine and how they stand and walk, how they feel and how they have felt and thought for years. If you go to a busy area and you just people watch and you really pay attention, you're going to see the people who have been weighed down by life so much and they're hunched over and their heart is collapsed and their head is down and they don't look up anybody in the eye and they're just plodding along with heavy steps. And then you see somebody else with their chest up and they're going for it and they're walking fast and you see the difference in the emotional state and the mental state of people based on how they stand, how they walk, their posture, their face. You see, you are expressing your consciousness through your physicality. Your physical body expresses your state of consciousness, which is your state of mind and emotion combined. Okay, so here's tip number one. If you ever feel down and heavy and out of control and overwhelmed and oh my God, stress, if you just change your posture, you're going to feel different. So what do I mean? Right now, I want everybody to sit up really tall on your chair. I want you to find your sitting bones, and I want you to lift up the flabby flesh on your sitting bones and pull the flesh away and get right on you. You might feel a little arch in your low back. And from your tailbone to the top of your head, imagine there's a string like a marionette and someone's pulling that string up. I want you to feel your spine lengthen taller. Draw your navel into your spine and lift up and take a deep breath, and then lower your chin just slightly and lengthen the back of your neck. Now take a breath into your belly and a big sigh out of the mouth. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Now take your arms and stretch them out to the side as wide as you can and lift your heart up and gaze up slightly at where the ceiling meets the wall. And breathe, breathe, breathe. Breathe, breathe, breathe. And just say to yourself, I'm open. I'm open. Life is good. Now, I want you to slouch your lower back and slump your shoulders forward and down and in and collapse your chest. Hang your head, look down at the floor, and stay there for a moment or two. Stay there. Slouched in, slouch your lower back, let your belly hang out. And think about something that just isn't going your way. Think about someone or something you don't like, don't want. Now come back to your normal sitting. Did you notice a difference in how you felt when your posture changed? Anybody notice a difference? Give me a heart, a thumbs up, wave your hand at me. Anybody notice feeling different when you changed your posture? Anybody? Anybody there? I don't see any hands going up. 1 thumbs up, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 5. What about the rest of you? No, you didn't notice a difference? If you can't find how to do the thumbs up, you can type yes in the chat. All right, there we go. Yeah, heavy, right? You feel heavy. It doesn't feel good. Slouched over, slumped over. Your posture changes your state, we call it. Your state is your state of mind emotion. Remember, mind emotion goes together like hand and glove. Not good, Dolores. Yes. So the first thing you want to do is become more aware of your posture when you're sitting or when you're walking or standing. Are you collapsed? Notice when you change and who you're with, what you're talking about, what you're listening to. Chances are, if you don't feel safe, you're going to collapse, tighten up, or tense up, and your breathing will get shallow or frozen. And the first thing you can do, and you can do this no matter who or what is happening, is you can stand up tall, take a breath into your low belly, let a sigh out the mouth. No one will even notice. You can do it without even, you don't have to make a big exaggerated sound, but let the sigh out. And you'll notice that you're able to start calming yourself down. You'll be able to start to retrain your muscles to relax. Yes, Judy said, when I'm stressed, I clench my fists. It's very common to clench fists. Some people start to grind their teeth and clench their jaw. Some people start to really bunch up their neck and shoulders. Some people grip in their stomach. You need to discover where you put the stress and the tension. Where do you start to hold on? And then change that pattern by breathing, change your posture, let your low belly breathe into your low belly and let out a sigh. And you can do that instantly, anytime, any place, anywhere. It just requires your awareness. There may be certain people, I hear it all the time, well, he triggers me. My mother says this and she triggers me. Well, don't let people trigger you. Decide when you start to notice you're reacting to what they're saying or doing, you are reacting to what they are saying or doing, decide you're going to change your pattern, because good luck changing them. I suspect you've already tried that. Right? So, but you can change you. So rather than collapse into a 5-year-old posture who's scared, stand tall in your power. Remember, you always have a choice. Breathe. And rather than resist, allow it to flow right past you. See, what happens is something goes on and it comes at us and we want to stop it. But what it does is it sticks, because what you resist really does persist. The key is to let it move on out. But if you're not letting it move, it's going to stop, usually right there with you. And if you're one of the people that feels deeply what other people are feeling, you're going to take that in, you're going to feel it, and you're going to just glom onto that, right? Have any of you ever felt like you were just too sensitive? You can't be around that person or that shopping mall or this or that because it's too much. A lot of you mentioned it's just too much. It's overwhelming. It's only overwhelming because you're taking it and not letting it go through you or around you or over you or under you. You're taking it in, you're taking it as if it's yours, and you're keeping it. Isn't it time to open up and let it go? And relax and let it flow like water around you, over you, under you, through you, but let it flow. It's not yours to keep. Why would you keep something that didn't feel good? You don't have to. If there's nothing else you hear today, I want you to recognize you always have choice. You're never stuck, even if you think you are. You're not blocked. You may have a blind spot. Well, today that's coming off. You're not stuck. You're not blocked. Don't get all freaked out about the invisible thing that you can't find from when you were 2 that happened to you. And nobody, where is it? It's in my unconscious mind. Well, what if I can't find it? Don't go there. I hear this conversation every day from people. Don't go there. I want you to relax into the fact that no matter what has happened to you in your life, right now, from this moment on, you can learn to relax in every given moment by retraining how you respond to life, to people, to events, to your own thinking. You can begin today, from this moment on, to start to recognize which thoughts are causing you to, and which thoughts make you feel amazing. And you can practice more of those thoughts and recognize what you're interpreting and how you're interpreting and who you're interpreting and the meaning that you're giving people, places, and things. Nothing means anything except for the meaning we give it. I want you to write that down and think about that a lot. Nothing means anything except for the meaning we give it. And many people give the same thing, very different meaning. So if it were really true, it would be true for everyone. And so if somebody has a different meaning than you do, then perhaps you need to re-examine what you think is true. and recognize you're being thrown off balance by how you're thinking about something or someone. People get very locked into being right. So, another key question you must ask yourself if you want to live pain free is, would you rather be right or rather be at peace? What are you going to gain from fighting to be right? What would that give you? What would that do for you? Really, I want you to think about these questions and do some journaling later. If you have particularly any relationships or activities where you feel always you find yourself angry, frustrated, overwhelmed, anxious, and you try to change someone or something or prove yourself or defend, what is that doing for you? What do you think you're going to gain by being right? Because I have a lot of people tell me, well, if they would only see that I'm right, then I'd be peaceful. Well, that may or may not be true. You may be right. You may get everybody to agree that you're right, and you still may not feel peaceful. And in fact, you may be completely bloody and black and blue from the battle of trying to get them to know that you're right. You may get sick, you may discover pain, all kinds of things can happen from the need to be right. So back to the stress and where it comes from and the deeper roots. Some of you have been to my High Speed Healing Universe calls, some of you to my Pain Free Living program calls. In there, I talk a lot about the top 13 reasons that I've found over the years that lie at the root of pain and symptoms and suffering. And one of the highest on the list that is so common, it's very common for women, it's also common for men, is people pleasing. And what I mean by that is putting other people's needs ahead of your own, which may cause you to do things like say yes when you really mean no. It may cause you to shut down a part of yourself because you think they don't like when you're too energetic or too expressive, or when you speak your mind, or when you challenge them, or when you don't help, when you don't, it's about what you think they might need or what they're asking for. And you try to either figure out what they want from you, figure out how to get them to approve of you and like you, or you say yes when you really don't want to. You might shut down your voice, your opinion. It's almost the opposite of needing to be right and proving yourself. You just say whatever, I just want to keep the peace. And are often, if you look at it deeply, there's usually a fear down at the bottom, fear of losing someone or something, or not getting something that you want. So we start thinking, well, it's no big deal, just this one time, I won't do it again, I don't want to make any waves. Any of that sound familiar? And so then we literally give away a little piece of ourselves every time we do that, because you're not being honest, you're not in integrity, you're literally compromising your truth to get something. And it seems like you're doing it to give something, but it's actually for you to get something. This people pleasing has greater consequences than you may realize. And people do it for decades. I sure did. And eventually, if you do it long enough, if you think, well, I should say yes, or you've been trained like I was as a youngster, you just always do it this way. Whether you feel like it or not, you just do this in different situations or with different people. Eventually what happens is, there's a lot of different ways it could play out, but what's common is that you may notice you start to feel resentful. You start to feel sad. You start to lose energy. You don't feel motivated. You feel confused. You don't know how you feel. You start to just feel a little more like robotic, like going through the motions, but not really excited about your life. There are a lot of different ways it plays out, but it always leads to stress, pain, symptoms, and suffering. Feroza is saying, but there's a deeper level of stress when you're in the continual throes of a negative situation that's very difficult. Well, yes, however, when you're in the continual throes of a negative situation, I would want to know, why would you choose to stay in a continual negative situation? You see, your question shows your lack of choice. You don't feel that you have power to make a choice, when the truth is, we always have a choice, and usually more than one or two choices are our option, but we don't exercise our choices because of some type of fear or programming, conditioning from childhood. And until the pain is great enough, we will stay in the same habit, the same pattern. That's your habit and your pattern. It is not about the other people. If you knew who you were, you would recognize how powerful you are, and you would make it, and you loved who you were, and you felt worthy and knew that you can change and that life supports you, you would make a different choice to get out of a situation that's constant, continual, negative, that's very difficult. So although I understand that, and I lived like that for years, and I kept saying, why me and why again? And will this ever stop? The truth was, no, it didn't stop. Again and again, I kept repeating the same situations, different bodies, same story, different states, same story, until I woke up and saw what I was doing, and I made different choices, and I started thinking differently, and I started feeling differently. And literally, I mean, my life is so different than it used to be. And when I tell my story, sometimes people say, I just can't even imagine you were like that, because so much has changed. And there's no drama, and there's no, my life was like a reality TV show. It really was. It was just full of drama. And it just kept going on and on and on and on. And my poor parents, I mean, really, I have other people through the ringer with all my drama. So we have choices. And I want you to recognize that you're more powerful than maybe anyone ever told you. You're more powerful than you perhaps learned in school. You're always, the minute you're ready, it's not like you have to wait. The minute you're ready, you can literally step into a different universe. It takes willingness. It takes sometimes facing your fears, but it's there for you. Life is there to saying yes to us, but it will keep saying yes to the patterns of suffering if we keep doing the same thing over and over again, thinking the same thoughts, feeling the same feelings. I mean, I'm sure you've all heard that definition of insanity. It's doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. I did that for years. So what are you afraid of changing? That's the key question. What are you afraid of losing or changing? What are you afraid will happen if you do something differently? I remember holidays years ago, I always felt obligated to say yes to going somewhere on holidays. I didn't know I had a choice. And then I discovered I had a choice. And then I was terrified to make a different choice than I had always made, because What if they don't like me? What if they get mad at me? And this is, again, another key tip. Allowing other people to have their feelings and knowing you're not responsible for them. Give people the dignity to have their feelings. They're allowed to have their feelings. You want your feelings, right? You want people to let you have yours. So not everyone's going to like every choice you make. They're not. And the quicker you accept that, the more freed up you will be to make choices that are best for you. And other people, shockingly enough, they get over it. Even if they don't like it, they get over it. And what's really shocking is 9 times out of 10, they don't get mad. They aren't upset with you. You are your own worst enemy, harder on yourself than other people are. I said no to my brother this year to go there for Thanksgiving. And believe me, I went through, before I said it, I was like, oh, I hope he doesn't get mad, but he might, because I've never known. Like sometimes he'll react in a certain way that I wasn't expecting. And other times he's so loving. I didn't know, and I didn't really want to insult. So, in the best way I could, I said with all love, no. And you know what he said? You never have to apologize for saying no to me, ever, for anything. I mean, I wasn't expecting that, but what a beautiful response. So I'm not saying life is always easy. I'm not saying it's always simple and easy to stand up for yourself and do what's best for yourself. It gets easier with practice. And especially then you start to gain the experience that, wow, it doesn't always turn out horrible, like my worst head nightmare. It often goes much easier than you think. It sometimes draws you closer to people, not further away. And you will feel empowered. And rather than suffering through an experience that you don't want to be, where you don't want to be, with people you don't want to be with, or an activity you don't want to do, who gets the brunt of that? You. And some people, every day, their lives are filled with choices of what they don't want. They don't like their job. They don't like where they live. They don't like their roommate. They don't like their clothes. They don't like. That isn't going to change unless you change. Cindy has a great comment here. She said, things really turned around for me when I finally realized I could not change or improve the life of a family member. I feel much more free and at peace, and the physical pain went away too. Did you hear that? Because our pain flares up from the choices we're making, the thoughts we're thinking, the feelings we're feeling, the tension we're holding on to, the stress, right? The trying to change other people. That's resistance. Tanya's saying, my biggest fear of change is simply a fear of the unknown, which is really a lack of trust in God and myself. I'm learning this trust and practicing it more and more. We can do this. Yes, we can. You all have got this if you were to practice it. And it does require trust. And here's the thing. The trust has to be in you, in your knowing of what's best for you. And how do you know what's best for you? By the choice that brings you the most peace. And you only know that by listening to the feedback in the body that you're trying to get rid of. So you want to really become very good friends with your feedback machine. You want to become very close, and you want to listen once a day, not once a decade. You want to listen to the clues. It's like having the GPS in your car, going to a new place you've never been, but you only listen to one of the directions, not all of them. And so you don't get there. You want to listen and turn right when it says turn right, and left when it says turn left, and sometimes make a U-turn and go back. That's what our GPS will tell us to do. And that's why the pain, the feelings that come up for you, they are your friends. They're not there because they're bad and you're being punished or karma or blocks or stuck. They're giving you feedback. Feelings are feedback. Sensations are feedback. Thoughts are feedback. Now, you have to discern, which thoughts are you generating based on your habits? And which thoughts are true and not true? And that can take a little work, but it's important to examine them. All right, some more tips. If you find, some of you said, talked about how your mind gets busy and just feels nonstop and it's not comfortable. So when you notice that, just stop everything and say to yourself, who's in charge of these thoughts? Who's driving the bus? Me. And I literally recommend, until you get this down, that you stand up and you just go like this, go stop. Because what that does is it interrupts the pattern. And the quickest way to interrupt the pattern is a surprise that's very strong. Have you ever had somebody try and startle you and like sneak up behind you and or grab you, or you get interrupted? Whatever you're doing is interrupted. You want to start interrupting yourself from your patterns. All right. So again, if you move your body, you change the position that you're in, you stand up. Don't stay in the same posture. Your body is holding on to your consciousness. That's your thoughts and your emotions. So if you want to change the thoughts and emotions, get up, move your body, walk, even if you just walk 2 steps, and then go, stop. I'm done with this pattern. I'm done. You take the charge. You take the reins back. You start driving the bus. And then you choose what you want to think about, what you want to be feeling. You choose. And you recognize that you can generate you are already generating your own thoughts, but you can generate new thoughts. You can generate new emotions. You can take a break. You can walk out of the room. You don't have to stay stuck in a habit of thinking and feeling, whether it's other people talking or your own head talking. But moving your body, notice that the posture and moving your body literally can change the state of how you feel right away. So Sarah's asking a great question. What about anxiety while you are driving? So if you examine anxiety, and a lot of you brought that up today, anxiety is always, listen close, thinking about something in the future that hasn't happened yet. So what that means is that you're not where you are. You're already ahead of yourself. And guess what? You have zero control of what hasn't happened yet. The only control you have, and where all the power is and where all the peace is in this moment. So when you're driving, you need to be in this moment, not in some imaginary future where you think about it. If I'm thinking ahead, I'm not as aware of what's going on around me right now. My reflexes won't be as strong, right? I won't be looking in the mirror because I'm thinking about ahead. The whole key to calm, grounded, feeling safe, making great decisions, concentration, focus, memory, inner peace, the key to all of it is being very present now here. Not over there, not back in the past, and not what's going to happen tomorrow or 10 minutes from now or 10 years from now. It's now, right now. Do you really know what's going to happen in 5 minutes? I don't. That's why this whole idea about control is really, quite frankly, it's laughable. Like, we want to feel in control, but we don't literally have control of the future. The future comes from how we live in this moment. Think about this. This is pretty wild. What happens right this moment, when we get to the next moment, what's happening right this moment will be what happened in the past moment, right? So our future is our past, which comes from this moment. So the key is this moment and what you're doing with it, because this moment's going to become your past. You follow that? It's all about staying present, which, guess what, is simple. It's not complicated to stay present. What's complicated and confusing is projecting into the future and trying to figure out all the possibilities. Oh my God, that's exhausting. That will wear you out. That will freak you out. That will cause you negative stress. All right, let me look at the chat. So while you're driving, you really want to stay present. I don't know about you, but every time I've lost my keys or fallen and had an accident, it's because I wasn't present. I was usually afraid of being late, forgetting something, thinking about what I had to do in the future, getting it wrong. I wasn't present. I was somewhere else in my mind. And I was moving too fast, and I wasn't grounded, and I wasn't paying attention like I would be if I was just in the moment. So Sarah, I hope that helps, and keep bringing yourself present. And the quickest way to do that is to sit up tall and breathe. Your breath, and noticing the breath as it comes in and as it goes out, is the quickest way to override the mental chatter and bring yourself present and calm yourself down. So if you feel anxious while driving or doing anything else, first of all, just look and remind yourself, I'm right here. This is where I am. Look at your hands and feet. Look at the steering wheel. Look at the window. Take a breath in, a big sigh out of your mouth, and remind yourself, I'm here. I'm here. And let your breathing, so your mind will follow your breath. If you slow your breath down, your mind will follow your breath, and your body will follow your mind and your breath. Tanya said, this has helped me understand why my husband loves driving a race car on a track. He's often said it completely occupies his senses and creates a state of flow. Absolutely. Absolutely. These sports that require complete focus, it could be a craft, an art form, could be painting, it could be ceramics, it could be walking, it could be swimming. Lots of things create that flow state, that deep concentration where people report, I was in the no mind, no thinking state. That's what we're all saying we want. When we say we want to feel quiet mind, quiet and peace, inner peace, we're wanting to get out of our mind and into that calm state. That's what you're wanting when you do the energy healing sessions with me, when you meditate. That's what you're wanting. So yeah, when you focus on something, and that's why focusing on your breath will bring you into that state. So you can practice just breathing in and breathing out and breathing in and breathing out. And you can do that every morning when you get up and set the tone for the day. Focus on the tip of your nose and breathe in and breathe out. That is a high-powered type of meditation practice. And you will find that once you do it consistently, even for just a minute or two, if you do it every day consistently for a while, you'll be able to do it and experience the benefits of it very rapidly if you have a moment where you get thrown out of whack, where you feel anxious. where your head starts spinning. You'll be able to bring yourself present much faster if you have a consistent practice of that type. Let's see. What about people who carry a deep and severe trauma that would seem to be hardwired no matter what you do? I always seem to end up in that dark prison cell of my childhood whenever I fall into despair, illness, or depression. Well, first of all, I would like to lovingly shed light on your thinking, your belief about all this. You're not hardwired no matter what you do. That's a belief. It's a false belief. I've worked with people with severe trauma all the time. They're not hardwired no matter what they do. They have a blind spot. They don't have the tools to change it. That's why they come to me and I help them. But you most likely need help getting a leg up out of the pattern, and you won't do it on your own with the mind that's locked into thinking I'm hardwired no matter what I do. You're not going to get out of that pattern that way. You need help from the outside until you learn how to free up and release the trauma. People that have trauma, yes, they have learned. It comes from different experiences. It feels awful. You can very easily feel stuck and repeat and repeat and repeat, but it doesn't mean you are stuck. And so what happens is you're resisting. Nobody wants to feel that trauma. Nobody wants to go back in and explore it. They just want it to go away. It has to come up and be released. That's how you're free of anything. It must come up and be released. You can't think it, shove it down, avoid it, deny it, suppress it, or repress it and expect it to be gone. And most of how trauma is dealt with is, modifying behavior or drugs. It's, very sad to me because they're not really getting to the root of it. When you get to the root, it moves because it's made of energy. And energy, everything's made of energy, including your trauma and all the symptoms, any symptom that any of you have, it's made of energy. And we know that energy changes form constantly. And it can change form instantly when let me back up. And the thoughts that you think and the emotions that you have generate frequencies which either free up the pain, symptoms, trauma, and suffering, the patterns that you have, or they engrave that groove in the tire deeper. So the thoughts you have and the emotions you have repeatedly either engrave the pattern deeper, which is why it feels so hard to get rid of, or the thoughts you have and the emotions you feel free it up. And most people just don't have the skills on their own to do that for themselves, or they would. Every one of you would. If you knew what to do, you would do it. And so the problem is usually that trying to fix ourselves, especially from very painful trauma or situations that you feel you have no control and you don't understand what choices you have. This is why people get so stuck, because they go round and round with the same train of thought that they've had for a long time, trying to figure it out. You need different thoughts. You need different frequencies. You need to get to a higher state, not the same state, because the same thoughts and the same pattern and the same emotions and the same choices keep you in the same pattern. It's a revolving door. You have to have a higher perspective, a new perspective that usually you don't generate on your own because you would have already done that by now. And that's why it is valuable to have a guide for a period of time until you're stable on your own. I needed it, and I fought that for years. Let's see. Judy's saying, I used to think the information was in the content of my thinking. Now I know the information is in the feeling. It tells me whether to listen to the thinking. That's a very interesting way of saying it. Yeah. Our feelings show us, they give us indications of whether our thoughts are helping us or harming us, whether they're high vibration or low vibration. And yet there are a lot of people who are not in touch with their feelings. And that's a big problem. I certainly wouldn't have known a feeling if it hit me in the head years ago. I just didn't know how I felt. And I didn't care to know. I thought I could think my way out of everything. So a lot of people are thinkers, and they think and they think and they Google and they research and they think and they get this information and more information and get this opinion and that, and wonder why they're stuck. And emotions emit strong frequencies, and frequency is everything. So we have to shift our frequency to a new channel in order to change the whole situation and have a different show going on. That's what you do with your cable remote. You change the channel, you change the frequency, and a whole new show appears. We have to do that with ourselves, and it is the fastest way to heal. That's why I get so crazy passionate about high-speed healing, because yes, you can do that with thoughts and changing our thinking. And yes, we can change our emotions, and we need to become aware of our thoughts and our habitual thoughts. We need to be aware of our emotional state, and we need to learn how to change those, which will change the frequency. But the fastest way is if you just work in the energy field, which is what I love to do for people, which is very relaxing for you. And you have to recognize there are certain imprints that you may not remember, or you may not be in touch with, that have affected you, but they're in your field, and they can be found usually pretty rapidly, and they may give you an awareness. They may help you to remember something you need to remember. They may bring feelings up. They often do. And that's why when I do the healing sessions, people say, wow, I realize what I've been doing or not doing, what I need to say, what I need to stop saying, what I've been eating, what I've been not eating, what my father did when I was 10, what my roommate did, I need to throw them out. They become aware of things. Many times they start to feel the emotions that have been stuffed. I had a client once that was completely numb physically, and they couldn't find anything on a medical test. And it turned out it was all emotional rage that she was afraid to express, didn't feel safe to express, and had disowned. And she shoved it and shoved it and stuffed it for decades. And the body literally became without feeling, which is what numbness is. And I've seen it again and again, people with numbness in their hands and feet, a lot of other ways that it shows up. But anyway, very quickly, within a week, she started feeling the feelings come back up. And when she was with me, she wasn't afraid to have them come up because she wasn't alone. She wasn't, most people are afraid of feelings coming up because they think they're going to go out of control, which I saw today is a lot of people's fear. It's the number one fear, by the way. I'm going to feel out of control. And then it won't stop. And then it will never stop. And then I won't function, and I won't be able to work or take care of my kids, or I'll look really foolish. So rather than feel out of control, we just stop the feelings, the pattern from coming up. And this is why we feel so stuck and blocked. And so it does help to have someone who's not afraid, knows what's happening, and can help you through the experience so that you're not trying to do it alone. And then you become aware feelings are just energy, and you don't have to be afraid. You learn to feel. Literally, you have learned to feel. I had to learn to feel and to stop fearing my feelings. And then we can see on very high powered equipment that these feelings it's like music. Feelings are like music. And think of it this way, certain feelings are emitting the frequency that would just feel like scratching fingers on a chalkboard and make you cringe. And other feelings are emitting soothing, literally like healing massage oil. And so we want to get the feelings generating that are soothing to our soul, soothing to our body, mind, spirit, and learn to release these other ones. And they may be your own feelings, but they may also be feelings you're picking up from other people, those of you that are sensitive. And again, that's affecting you. And you may be trying to stop them, but you're taking it, you're feeling it, you're sensing it, and you don't know how to release them. So they're affecting you, and they're in your field or they're in your body. And so again, all of this is changeable, and learning how to quiet your mind and quiet your emotions, calm down, change the pattern, you can do that. I want to share a few other tips with you, and then also give you your pre-Christmas gift. So if you feel out of whack, especially if you've been sitting at a computer a long time and you start to feel physical stress, which you can get from the frequencies coming off these devices, one of the things you can do, and I want you to practice it right now while you're sitting down, I want you to lift your right knee and touch it with your left hand. Now lift your left knee and touch it with your right hand. Now go back, right knee, left hand, left knee, right hand, right knee, left hand, left knee, right hand. And I want you to back and forth, like you're marching in place and you're crossing the opposite hand and touching your knee. And I want you to just do that in place and do that in place, just very rhythmically. It doesn't have to be fast. You don't have to lift your knee high, but just lift your foot off the ground and march in place and tap it with the opposite hand. And what you're doing is you're syncing your left and right brain and bringing it back into balance. Now, I don't know about you. Anybody feel that already? I feel the effects of that almost immediately. You may get out of whack from being dehydrated, from being at a computer too long, from sitting too long. You ready for this? If you're walking with a handbag on one shoulder, it will throw your brain out of sync. So lots of ways we get our brain out of whack that we're not even aware of, which that you can change very simply by making sure you stay hydrated and do these cross marches in place. You can do it standing or sitting, but do it and notice how different you'll feel. Remember that nature emits a frequency that we all need because we are part of nature, but we forget that because we don't think of ourselves as squirrels and butterflies and oak trees. We think of ourselves as high-level humans. Well, we need the frequencies coming out of the earth. And the animals and the plants stay in balance with nature because they're completely connected to nature 24/7. Whereas we are in our, high-rise concrete, electrified boxes. And very rarely are we in nature enough. So if you can get out there, sit, stand, lie down, barefoot on the earth, see what happens when you lie on your belly on the earth in grass or sand. Just see what that feels like. If you ever feel anxious, lie on your belly in a field of grass or on the beach. If you can't get outside, stare outside, go to a window, a door, look out at nature. Just seeing it will start to change you. And why is that? Because we entrain, we become synchronized with the frequency of the earth. Our sun is connected to our heartbeat. And we are literally one with nature. And it's like when you hook up and recharge your iPhone or sync it to your computer, you want to sync yourself to the supercomputer of the earth. and get the frequencies that you need to reboot your whole system. So do that as much as you can. Yes, Shirley, it changes the ions in your body, literally change. And that affects how you feel and how you will live your life. A couple more tips. Laughter has been medically shown to release pain-killing endorphins for up to 2 to 4 hours, I think it is. So watching a funny movie, watching a YouTube, a podcast, something that makes you laugh, literally starts the frequencies changing. Laughter is the highest vibration. Joy is the highest vibration there is. So if you find yourself, make yourself laugh, find something that you find funny. If you ever feel down and out, if you ever feel that heavy weight of the world, you need to change your own vibration. And you can do that. Watch a funny movie. If you're in pain, notice what happens when you watch and laugh. Literally, they have measured this to show pain-killing endorphins released into your body from the vibrational frequency of laughter. You see, our bodies are pharmacies. And we've gotten so used to being in a world where we take something for everything. But guess what? This is pretty fascinating. If you took a painkiller pill, the only reason it works is because your body already has receptors for the pain-killing pill. You wouldn't have a receptor for it if your body couldn't generate it already on its own. Think about that. You wouldn't have a receptor for something that you can't manufacture. And so by continuously taking something that's not natural, you're telling the body, oh, you don't need to do that. You don't need to produce that. You don't need to help me. I'm going to take this thing to make it. So it turns the receptor off from creating the very painkiller that you naturally have access to. All right, so Feroza said, I saw that so much with my son. He would be angry, and if we would stop and go to the fish store, I watched his mood change so positively. You would never think he was angry half an hour ago. Yeah, I mean, that's why you have to find out where is your happy place, right? You have to find out what makes you tick. It's going to be different than what makes me tick, but you have to find your places, your people, and your spaces. And you don't have to physically go there, by the way. The mind does not know the difference between what's real and what's imaginary. So if you know that going to the aquarium or the zoo or the beach is your place where you just, sit, but you're stuck at the airport and it's Christmas in Chicago and you're snowed in and you're stuck there. You could be miserable as hell for the next 24 hours, or you could picture and imagine the beach or the aquarium or the zoo on a sunny, beautiful day. And guess what? Your body will respond to your mind because it's all mental, my friends. It's all a state of mind creating the emotions and the imagery, and your mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So be conscious of what you're creating in your mind because it is generating the feelings. Judy said, once I was sobbing in pain, and I recognized my breathing was similar to a laughing yoga exercise that I had learned. And when I laughed instead, my pain went down. Point made. Yeah, that's awesome. All right. The other thing that really helps, particularly this helps women, is what I call tell on yourself. Call a friend or someone you trust who will not judge you, who will keep their mouth shut and just be listening ears, and tell them what's going on, tell them how you feel, tell them, give the pain, release the pain by talking about it. Now, It doesn't always work that well for men. When men talk about their pain, it often gets worse with feminine energy, and that could be a woman or a male, but usually feminine energy women, when they tell someone, even without a solution, just talking about it starts to take the power out of it. It's the keeping it inside, the holding it in. I'm not going to be mad. I'm not going to be mad. I'm not going to be mad. That's going to make it worse. Just admit how you feel. Tell someone how you feel. I want to kill the SOB. You're going to feel better. And you're not going to kill the SOB. If you hold it in long enough, you probably will do something that you'll regret later, because eventually the closet's full and you blow. And it comes out sideways in a dysfunctional way. Just tell the truth about how you feel to someone you trust, and then say thank you, and preface it by saying, look, I don't need you to fix me. I don't need advice. I need someone who loves me, that will just let me get it out. Will you ask them, will you do that? Your friends will do that. Yeah. Or come to one of my groups, which is the perfect segue. Join the High Speed Healing universe. Join the Pain-Free Living program. We have resources here for you where you can lean in and you can tell on yourself with people who understand, with people who are there for you, with people who get it and are doing the same thing. And it works. And if it didn't work, people wouldn't keep coming back. So if you know you need more support through the holidays, if you know you want more support, if you want more tools, if you've liked what you've heard today and you want to go deeper, if you want the high speed healing layered on top of all of this, check out the programs. There's really only two. Well, there's more than two choices. Some people know they absolutely only want to work with me privately. So you can find on the website the one-on-one session. That's just a one session. And you can also find the healing one-on-one and healing intensive. That's where I work with people, usually 1 to 3 months. But the group programs, amazing, amazing. And the people in that program become close. They share, the sharing is deep and beautiful, and the love flows. Let me tell you, the love flows. And some people are going through a lot of stuff that's difficult. It helps to have support around you. Now, if you don't know and you just want to check things out and you want to just learn more, that's the High Speed Healing universe is probably the best choice for you. That's where I teach. I talk about a wide range of topics on all different types of things, all different types of pain. We talk about relationships and money and career and purpose and back pain, neck pain, binge eating. I mean, you name it. I talk about a wide range, and there's a library in there of video calls that you could probably binge watch for a year. There's so much in there. So, but that's a monthly membership. You can come as short or long as you like and stay as short or long as you wish, and cancel at any time. So, you know, it's more for someone who just kind of on the outskirts, not sure you really want to talk to other people yet. And you can learn more about that. Now, I have all through the holidays, I'm offering half off the first month in the High Speed Healing universe. So basically, probably for less than what you spend at Starbucks, literally, you can get half off of the High Speed Healing membership, the first month's membership. And what you do is you go to internationalcpi.com / I'm putting this in the chat, HSHU. And then when you check out, put in the coupon code half HSHU. That's the coupon code. And that will give you half off the first month of the High Speed Healing membership. Now, if you know you want to go into the Pain-Free Living program, you can read all the details about that at internationalcpi.com / PFLP, Pain-Free Living program. And then I'm offering $100 off of the digital course. And so the coupon for that is 100 off. And you would put that coupon in for the digital version, and you'll get $100 off. So 2 kind of pre-holiday gifts for you to give you more support, help you get motivated to take some action, to give yourself what you need. If you have questions about it, just email us and we will be happy to answer those questions. You can find most of the details on the website, which is internationalcpi.com. And you can email us from the website as well. But, you know, my point in all of this is suffering is optional. Don't choose suffering this year. Let this season be a season of freedom. We have enough going on in the world that's out of your and my control going on that is causing a lot of suffering and stress. And we need to rise above to the highest vibration possible. Give yourself a gift this season of higher vibrational information, raising your feeling frequency, being around people who are committed to staying above the clouds, and know that we can create a world where love is the way, where there is peace. It takes energy and effort to do that. It's easy to get sucked in by all the media and the hype and the negativity. There's a lot of it out there, and a lot of changes that are being forced on people that some people are opposed to and that feel heavy, way heavy. So if you're feeling heavy, it's going to require that we work on thoughts, emotions, and our energy. It's as simple as that. And you can, no matter what is going on around you, you can find what I call the eye of the storm, the peaceful, calm center, no matter what's going on. And that will get you through. And so reach out. If there's any way that I can help you, reach out and look at all of these options. There's more ways that I work with people. You'll find that on the website, internationalcpi.com. Feroza is saying, I'm at peace much more now. I also have fun with telling my close friend that my box is so full and I have to find a sale where they have a discount. But Feroza's been working with me and making progress, and I've watched you go through some very challenging times and come out floating on top and more powerful and more empowered, right? I mean, you're a walking, living proof that you don't have to suffer forever and ever, and that you can change. So there's lots of people in here that demonstrate that I've worked with. And so if you're new to all of this, check out my YouTube channel, come to the website. You can find all the YouTubes there. There's lots of free resources. Get a hold of my book. You can get a free digital copy. If you haven't done so yet, I highly recommend this. It's called Why Do I Still Hurt? You can get a copy at my website and download to any device. And it will take the conversation we're having here today even deeper and ask you some important questions to start to get your unconscious mind waking up. Lots of tools for you. So you have no excuse to suffer one more day. All right, my friends, thank you so much for being here today. I am very honored that all of you took time out of your busy lives to be here and to share. And thank you for the great comments and all the great chat. I love you, I care about you, and don't hesitate if you have a question at any time to reach out, and I'll help you make the decision that's best for you. If you're not sure which program or how to best get the help that you need, I'm happy to help you sort that out. All right, thank you. I hate to go. You guys energize me. So thank you. It's a gift that you give back to me. Much love to you, everybody. Bye for now.